to all the people who signed the petition, which means we can place our demands to the government on behalf of the bereaved people of Grenfell Tower and the wider community in Kensington. And it's always people outside, I believe, that push this place to progress rather than members of Parliament pushing that progress themselves. To be honest, like many other members have said in this room, I don't think it should be this difficult to get a debate with the government to convey the demands of survivors. It shouldn't have taken a petition or the precious energies of campaign groups for them to be heard. But from everything that I've seen about this horrific incident is that this is part of a pattern, that the people in Grenfell Tower were not and are not being listened to. They weren't listened to before their homes were destroyed. They're not listened to in the immediate aftermath, nor in the months that follows. And it's clear that the lives of Grenfell Tower residents were placed at risk, not only because of the refurbishment, which residents warned were shoddy and that corners were being cut, but also because of the ongoing management of the block. And I cannot seem to get over the fact, that residents repeatedly warned that the building was unsafe, that they'd produced a long list of issues that needed to be addressed, and yet nobody listened. I was told outside that there was a group that were blogging for 5 years before the fire about their concerns. Imagine the worry each night going to bed, knowing that you'd done everything that you could to keep your family safe, but actually everything within your power, yet your home wasn't safe and nobody was listening. Why is it only when death on huge scale occurs do these people's calls become significant or newsworthy? What is it about our society and about our system that we live within that working class people's voices are so meaningless that they are only given weight and validity or heard upon death? And even that has been a fight. I would like for us for 1 second just to consider how these people would have been treated if they were the wealthiest residents of Kensington and Chelsea. In fact, would this have happened at all if they were the wealthiest residents? Why is it that the government and Kensington and Chelsea Council don't just give these people every single thing that they want without a fight? Why does it take a battle to get a process that residents have confidence in, that they believe will deliver justice and truth? When confidence is so low, and understandably after everything that we've heard in this room today, how can ministers not see that what they think is appropriate in this situation is actually irrelevant? It's actually the only thing that is relevant, and the experts here, as has been said, are the residents of Grenfell Tower and the surrounding communities. Have the ministers, none of us in here, I don't believe, have ever experienced our homes being burnt to the ground, or, our gravest concerns being ignored by the state, or ever having to rely completely on the state to get them and their family out of a hotel room into a home. So why do these people who know so much about their own situation have to go through so much and a battle on top of their grief and on top of having to rebuild their lives against the backdrop of deregulation, cost-cutting, gentrification, the demolition of democratically controlled local housing, of complex, distant and unaccountable tenant management organisations, of cuts to fire and safety inspectors. In my own area, and we are, in North West Durham, a long way away from Grenfell Tower, but we have lost 50% of our fire safety inspectors since 2010. And we don't have great tower blocks like Grenfell Tower, but we do have huge concern over that. And on top of that, generations of people not being listened to and their demands not being listened to. And these people's demands are modest, to say the least. What they are asking for must be granted by the government and their council. If not, they're letting them down, and I believe they're re-traumatising these people. And it will only confirm what working class people up and down the country have come to believe and know, that the state and the government are actively working against their interests in the most difficult of circumstances. So this is all that they are asking for. They want an independent expert panel, akin to one that was afforded to the Macpherson investigation, and that panel is representative. The 2 members announced on Friday was a start, but it's not enough, and it should not have taken all this time to do such a simple thing. They want a guarantee that all residents will have a permanent home by the 1-year anniversary anniversary. And if that does not happen, then action should be taken against Kensington and Chelsea Council, action which is proportionate to the failings of the people of Grenfell Tower. And the deadline has been moved time and time again, as has been said by many members, as if the deadline doesn't matter at all to the council or the government. There are still people living in hotel rooms, their lives on hold. I believe if there was enough care, they would have permanent homes. If there was enough care, there wouldn't be a list of bureaucracy preventing these people from moving on. The hundreds of times that we have returned to our homes since Grenfell Tower is a luxury not afforded to those people who, through no fault of their own, lost everything on their night. A year to rectify that is simply not good enough. And the bereaved people's legal representative should be able to see all of the evidence from the start of the inquiry and have access to all of the documents relating to the inquiry. Whatever they need to properly represent their clients, they should be given. And finally, we want a commitment from the government that they will implement in full all of the recommendations of the inquiry and not pick and choose those which are most convenient. So I fully support the demands of the people of Grenfell Tower and Kensington, and I hope that the government will do the right thing and announce today that they will grant all of their wishes. What a terrible disaster in the history of our nation. Living in one of the richest countries in the world means absolutely nothing if those riches are diverted from your community. And as somebody so eloquently said outside at the protest, and I wish I knew this man's name, I will find it out. He said the government needs to defend, represent and listen to the people and not the market for once.